Hello, this is Kristen Kyle, and this is my anti-racism and decolonization project. For me, being an anti-racist means waking up to the ways in which I have unconsciously been supporting the systemic structures of oppression. It means continuing to educate and align myself more authentically with the truth and learning how to use my voice to become a more engaged, more proactive advocate. I never would have imagined, um, I never would have considered myself a passive racist growing up outside of Washington, D.C., in an incredibly diverse area with mostly Black friends. I had not considered that by simply not participating in the act of racism I witnessed at home and choosing to treat people differently out in the world, I was still actively engaged in passive racism. This class and a dive into my history in the anti racist paper has illuminated how I need to grow and change to become the person I wanted to believe I was when I was younger. Those advocating for social justice and being oppressed and marginalized by the dominant cultural norms are looking at power and how power connects to the access of opportunities and maintains inequalities. And they are working to eliminate the structures that keep them in place. My anti-racist journey will be ongoing, and I will look forward to moving from a helper role into an organizer as I continue to grow and my life evolves to include more time for active advocacy. I will hold in awareness my power and privilege. I will maintain humility in all I do not know, and I will not assume to know about someone's unique lived experience. I will listen and help to identify the ways people have been oppressed and marginalized by white Western society. And I will be honest. I will be an honest and supportive witness to each person's experience. I am deeply affected and impacted by the historical legacy of colonization since diving into the anti racist paper and learning that my family tree traces back to an English landowner who established settlement in Jamestown, Virginia in the 1600s. Having just an intellectual knowledge that this country was founded on colonialism and slavery was impacted in such a profound way by the understanding that my ancestors were actively involved in building the structural systems of social, political, and historical inequality that we experience in our society today, and are the shoulders that white supremacists stand on. That created waves of anguish, shame, and deep guilt that I have been processing throughout this class. I carry the most privilege possible, short of being born a male, as every other group and identity I connect with have been socialized in is the dominant or most widely accepted one in my culture, which is also dominant. Understanding the immense privilege I carry comes with immense responsibility to use my awareness and power to not continue the unconscious support of systemic injustice and to move further into the actions of continuing to learn, listen, and sit with uncomfortable feelings and truths. To constantly be aware of my thoughts, biases, and prejudices, to support, hold space, bear witness, help to identify and validate the experience of those oppressed and marginalized. That is my ongoing work. Conceptually, decolonization is a call for me to hold ongoing awareness of the power and privilege I hold in a counseling environment. Understanding that the counseling theories we've examined thus far in graduate school, including those I felt most aligned with, were created by white Western men, calls for a re-examination when holding that awareness. I was struck by this quote in the Singh et al. Article. Because patriarchy and cultural frameworks are key influencers of clients' experiences and understandings of their mental health and wellness, without grounding in social justice theories, counselors become agents upholding the status quo rather than interrupters of injustice. I love that quote. This directly translates to my professional work and development as I incorporate relational cultural theory into my toolbox and critically examine other theories I pull from. Relational cultural theory looks at how privilege and power influences every relationship, including the counseling one. Human growth, development, and connection include sociopolitical and cultural factors that would be ignored by simply considering the individual client. In my practice, I will focus on the growth of both myself and my clients, personally and culturally, through both connection and interdependence. As a recovering perfectionist in practice, I took comfort in Singh's comments in the Racial Healing Handbook that one won't always be perfectly anti-racist. I am at a time in my life where all the self-care we have talked about in every semester of grad school needs to be the priority for my mental, emotional, and physical health. As an only child who is helping to care for parents with serious health issues, including a terminal illness that has advanced significantly in the last 6 months, as well as raising a daughter who still very much requires my presence, the level of bandwidth I have for advocacy work is limited at best. That said, I spent quite some time researching organizations that are doing important and very inspiring work in the world, and I pledge to contribute to two specifically when the time capacity of my life looks different. Sonoma State University is a wonderful resource for events and rallies locally, and organizations who are looking for donations and signatures for petitions. But the one that really resonates with me is Showing Up for Racial Justice. That is another organization that I have tabbed and plan to work with in the future. Showing Up for Racial Justice is a national organization that organizes white people to undermine white supremacy and work to take action against racial and economic injustice. There are 3 chapters in the San Francisco Bay Area, and I have signed up for their weekly newsletter, and I have followed them on social media so I can participate in events as the responsibilities and time limits in my life shift. My office will be a safe haven for all people, evident by visual land and labor acknowledgement of the fact that we are meeting on the ancestral territory of the Southern Pomo, and that the Coast Miwok, Pomo, and Wapo peoples were the original caretakers of the land. There will be visual representations of support for LGBTQIA and reference books that can be easily accessed. In client interaction, I will utilize relational cultural theory philosophy in working towards a mutually empathetic connection where I show up with humility, curiosity, and a desire to listen, understand, support, validate, and strategize ways to advocate. I will not shy away from honesty and challenging clients who express racist views by offering alternative perspectives and striving for growth and expansion. Importantly, I will be continually doing the internal work of monitoring my thoughts and checking for biases and prejudices. This class and all of the material offered in this class have been important and eye-opening to me, and I'm grateful for the experience. Thank you so much.